How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.
the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final fight. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be out you.
And lastly, we ask that there be no recording or streaming of today's sessions from the floor. And any disruptive behavior in today's session will result in being removed from the call.
We please ask that there will be no recording or streaming of today's sessions from the floor. Any disruptive behavior today could result in being removed from the call. So, just be a nice person. So with the little housekeeping things out of the way, let's jump right in.
Again, we ask no recording or streaming of today's session.
We ask that there be no recording or streaming of today's session from the floor. Any disruptive behavior in today's session will result in being removed from the call.
Won't anybody help us? What are we running for? When there's nowhere we can run to anymore. Can't afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible. And with the power of conviction, there is no sacrifice. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
All
not
Drill
be
sent $200.
retarded?
Have you
Please.
seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent $200.
Literally.
So
Not
it's,
Ian.
it's not because
Yeah.
I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is that what
problem.
you call reporting?
Go
and live
under if
streaming?
you're going to do it.
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah, please.
But Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
What's up, everyone? What's up? What's up? What's up? How's it going, guys? How was that? Did I just... You know, the thing about going on other people's shows is I oftentimes don't actually remember the things that come out of my mouth when I'm talking to other people because I'm just kind of going on autopilot. I'm not like planning out everything I'm going to say. I'm not like a fucking conservative that scripts everything I say out word for word. So I oftentimes will just say things like stream of conscious on other people's shows that I don't really plan to say. Did I just go on the Dr. Drew show and advocate for putting all leftists in a concentration camp? Did that happen? Did I literally just go on the Dr. Drew show and totally make his head explode when I advocated for putting all leftists in a concentration camp? I'm never getting invited back again. And it's over. I'm never getting invited back again. That's my one appearance on the Dr. Drew show. You know what? Worth it. Worth it. Worth it. Like watching he was like, no, don't say no. I was like, you know, just a tramp, a camp where we're gonna concentrate them. I don't know what the big deal is. You know what? And really, it was Dr. Drew's fault because Dr. Drew was like, we need to contain the leftists. And I was like, maybe we concentrate them in a camp. Were you guys all in his chat? I didn't see his chat, so I don't know what happened in the chat. I do think I saw Chicken Spawn get displayed. Handsome Chicken now. You've updated your name. I'm pretty sure I saw you get displayed on the screen, but I didn't see the chat. So I have no idea. Did you guys take over his chat? Were you nice? You don't have to be nice to Jesse Kelly. Jesse Kelly's an asshole that's blocked half my audience. Fun fact, like, it's so bad. I didn't want to say anything. I'm not going to go on someone else's show and shit on the other guests. I really didn't want to do that. Hey, thanks, Pete. I really do appreciate that. I don't want to ever go on someone else's show and cause drama and shit on the other guests, but like, the producers were like, they were talking to me and they were like, Karlyn, are you going to watch Jesse Kelly? Jesse Kelly's on before you. And I was like, nope. Because for people who don't know, Jesse Kelly for literally years, Jesse Kelly has blocked every single person that mentions me in his replies. People in my audience have been trying to get Jesse Kelly to look at primary source information for years. Jesse Kelly blocks every single person that mentions me or posts my work in his replies. So I was like, I was rating it. When the producers told me when I was going on the show that they were like, Karlyn, you're going on after Jesse Kelly. Isn't that exciting? I was like, mm-hmm. Yep. Because I'm not going to start shit on someone else's show. But Jesse Kelly can go fuck himself. He doesn't know nearly as much as he thinks he knows. He doesn't have did he make a look? Did he make a face? Did he make a face? I saw him on the before, like when we were testing the Zoom like an hour before, and he didn't acknowledge me at all because Jesse Kelly is an asshole. Hey, thanks, Anthony, for the super sticker. I really do appreciate that. Jesse Kelly didn't have any fans in the chat, and I had a lot of fans in the chat. No, that was Scott Pressler. That was Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler was awesome. We love Scott Pressler. We are Scott Pressler respecters on this channel. Like that Scott Pressler, I have no shit to talk on Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler has worked very hard for years, put himself in the fucking hospital working so hard. I may not agree with Scott Pressler on everything, but I have literally zero bad things to say about Scott Pressler. He's always been very nice to me. I've known Scott Pressler for 6 years now. He's always been very, very nice to me. He's always answered my messages when I've reached out. Like like Scott Pressler is a real one. I have no issue with it. Was mostly you guys in the chat. That's so fucking cool. That's so awesome. Hopefully you guys made an impression. You say this, he saved the best for last. Yeah, that's exactly what I would say. Hopefully they bring me back sometime after the concentration camp argument. I don't know if how did the concentration camp stuff go over in the chat? How did me saying we need to put all leftists in the concentration camp, how did that go over in the chat? I'm honestly curious. Again, I didn't watch the chat, so I have no idea. Were people in favor of putting all leftists in a concentration camp? They loved the chat was like, yep, that's a good start. But I do, oh my God. The fact that I got to say, this stupid lie that you guys tell that they don't have jobs and they're all paid protesters, that's all bullshit for reason X, Y, B, and Z. I loved, and Dr. Drew may not have appreciated that I took the question in that direction, but the fact that I got to say, they control the unions, you retards. They control the K through 12 public schools, you retards. I would never use the hard R on another person's show unless they did it first. I feel like I got to say some things that I wanted to say. I feel like I got to dispel a couple things, and I really hope Dr. Drew has me back sometime. And I really hope he overlooks the fact that I absolutely am 1000% serious about putting all socialists and communists in a concentration camp. We may need to build several concentration camps, actually. There's a lot of socialists and communists in the United States. We may need to build as many as several very large concentration camps to concentrate them, to contain leftist ideology. I'm 100% serious about this plan. I'm not in any position of decision making, but if I were, and I'm not seeking office and I don't really care about being a leader of anything, but if I were in a position of decision making, if I were the actual queen fascist of the United States, I would concentrate the leftists in a camp, or we could just give them Africa. That's a really good idea. We could deport them all to Africa and let them be there. That's a idea worth kicking around. Anti-commie, thanks for the super chats. I swear when I got into his chat around 4 p.m., there were like 100 people there, and by 4:30 it was up to 50. Really? Well, as long as the concentration camp argument went over well, I think I won the day. Did Jesse Kelly even say anything interesting? I didn't watch, so I have no idea. I refuse to watch Jesse Kelly because he's an asshole who doesn't know what he's talking about. Did he say anything interesting at all? Hey, Sith over on Rumble. Dr. Drew, how do we deal with that? Dr. B, well, have you thought about a concentration camp? I cannot believe that came out of my mouth. I was completely sober too, if you believe it. I was actually completely, I in a completely sober state said, have you thought about a concentration camp? Oh, you know what? It was probably my finest interview of all time, if we're being honest about it. It was. Hey, Dragon Tail. I'm extremely disappointed that book burning and Hitler stopping communism weren't mentioned. Jesse Kelly was a snooze. Yeah, obviously Jesse Kelly was way more boring than me. Obviously. Anyway, hey, is there anyone new here that found me because of the Dr. Drew interview? Is there anyone new here today who you're like, that one's talking about putting leftists in a concentration camp? I'm in. Is there anyone new here that just like literally found me and you're like, what the fuck even is this? Oh, you're going to find out. You're going to find out. One in the chat if you're new here. Bot, shut the fuck up. One in the chat if you're new here. One in the chat if you just are okay, assholes. I know none of you are new. One in the chat if you just found your way over here because you said, I saw that young woman talking about a concentration camp, and that seems like a really good idea. Okay, no one's new. We attracted 0 new people. Great work, guys. Great work. We attracted 0 new people into the audience today. Great work. We won no people over to our cause today. You know what? That's okay. That's okay. It takes a special type of person to be a part of my community. And you know what? Maybe Dr. Drew's audience isn't ready for it yet. That's okay. We are a gate-kept community. We are an exclusive community. There's no nonsense. There's no retardation. There's no low IQ owning the libs bullshit allowed in this community. We are an extremely gate-kept community. We have high standards for people who are allowed to be here. Maybe we didn't find new people today, but there is always tomorrow, guys. There is always tomorrow. So it's all good. Anyway, welcome to the stream, guys. I appreciate you guys allowing me to be a little bit late because I did have to do that interview tonight. But the show must go on. And the research must continue. And even though conservatives who never watch the left in their life go, all Karlyn does is watch videos on the internet. Well. I do things that conservatives are unwilling to do, and we actually watch the real far left on this channel. And today, we are going to be watching a new video from the Revolutionary Communist Party. This is on their YouTube channel. Now, the Revolutionary Communist Party, this is the Canadian version of the Revolutionary Communists of America. So the Revolutionary Communists of America, or the RCA, is a group that we track on this channel. They are a nationally organized group in America. They have an organized presence in at least 30 major U.S. cities. New sticker design in the Discord. On it. Awesome. I'll take a look at that when I get a chance. Really do appreciate it. The Revolutionary Communists of America are an organized group that have a presence in at least 30 major U.S. cities. They are larger than you think they are. They have protested every major Democrat event. Yes, I said Democrat event. Like the DNC, they protested Kamala Harris. They hand out a little newspaper called, I think The Communist is the name of their newspaper, where they basically, it's their piece of propaganda, where if you see a communist newspaper in your city, chances are it came from the Revolutionary Communists of America. They have a campaign where they have these stickers that they put all over college campuses with Karl Marx on it and a QR code saying, "Are you a communist?" And then people scan the QR code and they go and join the Revolutionary Communists of America. How are the Revolutionary Communists of America funded, you ask? By dues. By dues. By dues. Cause I am. Excuse me. Very sorry to disappoint. I am so sorry to disappoint the internet with my 35-pound weight loss that you guys didn't see coming. Because like all those times when I said I can lose weight whenever the fuck I want, and then people made fun of me. All those times where I said, if I fucking feel like it, I can actually drop weight very quickly, and you assholes all made fun of me for it and just called me fat over and over and over again. I seem to remember one particular asshole who will remain over the fuck on kick if he doesn't want to start a massive internet war. I can remember one particular asshole calling me a very sloppy person and, and then making porn featuring me looking very, very fat. Well, I was in the process of losing a massive amount of weight very quickly. Just give it a couple of months because I'm not done losing weight yet. I've just lost the weight loss has now just become visible. Give it a couple more months and I'm going to be unrecognizably thin. And it's going to be fucking awesome because then I'm going to be able to go undercover again. And also, assholes like the one over on Kick are going to have to keep his fucking mouth shut for the rest of his fucking life after he made porn about me. And that's just going to be the way it is. So I'm very, very sorry to disappoint everyone with the massive amount of weight that I lost in 3 months just by deciding to lose weight because I want to be able to go undercover again. And I haven't even peaked yet. I literally just started the descent into the weight loss. It was the first month you couldn't even notice anything. The second month you started to notice a little bit of my face. Now it's like, boom! All of a sudden, I'm wearing small clothes. All of a sudden, I'm posting pictures where you can, see that she's not fat anymore. Too bad, so sad, you bald motherfucker. Just saying. Just saying. Thank you, Juan. I appreciate the super chat. Anyway, and not even in my final form yet. Not even in my final form yet. Not even in my final form yet. Anyway, we are watching the Revolutionary Communists of, well, this is actually the Revolutionary Communist Party of Canada, but they have an American counterpart. And the person presenting in this meeting, basically what happened is the Revolutionary Communists of America sent an emissary up to Canada. That guy that's presenting has actually been on my YouTube channel. I've talked to that guy directly. He is one of the leaders of the Revolutionary Communists of America. So this is the Revolutionary Communists of America traveling to Marxist school. Yes, the Revolutionary Communist Party has Marxist schools where they basically get together for a weekend and they teach each other Marxism. And they told me that I was allowed to go to Marxist school, but then, they never really issued me an official invite, and I was very sad about that. Doesn't really matter, though. Doesn't really matter. So today, we are going to watch what happened. We are going to watch the leftist, let us see, look at my fucking Twitter. Look at my fucking Twitter. Like, it's on my Twitter. It's on my Twitter. It's on my Instagram. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm not even talking about Tim, but this is a really good point. Weight can be lost. Bald can never be fixed. Weight can be lost. Hair can never be grown back. Too bad. So sad, Pisces. Too bad. So sad. Tim Pool, also a Pisces, by the way. Tim Pool's actually a double Pisces, which makes him even more of an asshole. Even more reason why I don't get along with Tim Pool, because Pisces men inside are really women. Anyway, I'm not posting pictures in a bathing suit. You can just get that idea right out of your head. That's not going to happen. Anyway, so we're going to be watching this today, but also, guys, also, we have a spy stream tonight. In a couple of hours, we have a spy stream tonight. We are going to be going inside a live leftist organizing call around about 7:30, 7:45 tonight. And we are going to be watching a bunch of feminists whining about how hard it is to be women. Everyone ready to watch a bunch of feminists complain about how hard it is to be women? That's what we're doing at 7:30-ish p.m. tonight. After this stream, we will be going directly into a supporter-exclusive spy stream where we will hear what the women are complaining about today, and we'll see if anything's going on. And so to be able to get access to spy stream, you need to be a supporter on one of many platforms. You could be a supporter on my Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn, .substack.com. You could be a supporter on my locals. You could be a supporter on my Patreon. You could be a subscriber on my Twitter or X, or you could be a member of my YouTube channel. So we have currently, do you guys know how many current members we have of YouTube? Check this out. Let me give you guys the most accurate, up-to-date number. How many members we have on my YouTube channel, because it's pretty fucking awesome. We have seen a YouTube membership explosion. We currently have 3,445 members. However, many of those members have become members because of a gifted channel membership. And those gifts expire after a month. And while I am very, very, very grateful for all the gift channel membership donations, we need to keep those numbers up. We need to keep those numbers up because the YouTube channel memberships are currently one of the main funding sources of my work. So if you are not yet a YouTube member and you want to see this work continue, because I am 100% independently funded by people just like you. I take no political money. I have no political masters. That's why I can say literally whatever the F I want to say on the internet. My only job is to tell you guys the truth and to show you the primary source evidence. So if you want to see this work going, the very best way to do so is either by becoming a member of my Substack. That is Karlyn, Karlyn.substack.com, or by becoming a member of my YouTube or Rumble channels. And membership gives you access to Spy Stream. Membership gets you exclusive supporter-only content. You get to go with us into these live leftist organizing calls and watch them live. There, you also get access to my supporter Discord, where we do other stuff as well. And one of the best ways you can support my work is to gift out some channel memberships. Let's see. I think someone already joined the channel today. Whoa, look at this. Look at this. We're already having a gifted membership trade. We got Surrey and W's for Surrey, 5 channel memberships. W's to EP, 10 channel memberships. Really appreciate it. That is already 15 channel members. Guys, can we get 100 new channel members of the day? Can we get 100 new channel members before our Spy Stream later today? That's like 17 more people sending in 5 gifted channel memberships. That would be pretty rad if we could get another 100 members before our Spy Stream today. That would be awesome. Hey, old sub sailor, thanks for the super chat and the ongoing support. Do you know what the National Defense Team is? I received an invite to a Zoom meeting to my fake profile. No, I don't. But if you want to forward that to me, you can forward it to Karlyn at decodetheleft.com. I put the email in the chat, not that it's like it's spelled out correctly, but if you want to forward that to me, I will certainly take a look at it. And I really do appreciate you letting me know. W's in the chat for Surrey. Get another 5 channel memberships. W's in the chat for Anthony with 5 channel memberships. And just like that, guys, just like that, we are up to 25 new channel members today. Can we get 100 before this stream is over? I hope we can. That would be rad. That would be rad. Anyway, guys, let's get into our show though, because we do have kind of like a time constriction. Of course, when we watch this presentation, we will break it down. We will talk about the language, stuff like that. Now, I want to remind people, someone said this over in the chat on Rumble. The Revolutionary Communist Party this is going to be tricky for some people. Hey, thanks, Charles, for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. Guys, this is going to be tricky for people, but the Revolutionary Communist Party, the Revolutionary Communists of America, the Revolutionary Communists of Canada, or wherever else, they are not the same as the RevComs. So the RevComs, REVCOMM, they are the people who run resistfascism.org or .com, I think. The RevComs are a weird culty group on the left that really, they're kind of their own standalone thing. They're not really connected to far left organizing as much as you might think they are. A lot of far left groups don't really like them. We pay tangential attention to them because sometimes they do protests, but the Revolutionary Communists of America are a completely different group than the RevComs. The people we're going to be watching today, they don't like the RevComs. They don't work with the RevComs. It's just that their name is very similar, and so people can get them confused. And so I just want to say off the bat, these are not the same groups, and it's important to distinguish them like that because they just don't believe the same things. The Revolutionary Communists of America typically tend to be more economic communists. They don't tend to do as much of the queer stuff as as many other groups we see, although there certainly are queer people in the RCA. It's not their primary focus. Also, the Revolutionary Communists of America love to go into high schools and recruit kids. I've even seen them talk about recruiting kids in middle school. So there are actually underage members of the Revolutionary Communists of America because they specifically target middle and high school students in their recruiting effort. And we know this because it's all over their flipping YouTube channel and we've heard them talking about it. So we are going to be watching a leader in the Revolutionary Communists of America talk to the Revolutionary Communists of Canada. This was a presentation that took place, I don't think that long ago. I think it just took place recorded on February 13th, 2026. So this was at the Marxist School for the Revolutionary Communists of Canada, but they had people from the United States come to talk to them, which is why we're watching this, talking about what they're calling the Minneapolis Uprising. And so we're going to get the leftist perspective today. That's what we're going to do. Guys, please make sure you mount the like button if you have not already. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And if you want to throw in some channel memberships to help us reach our 100 channel member goal and get 100 more channel members in for Spy Stream today before we start our Spy Stream in about 2 hours, please feel free to do so. I would really appreciate it. Let's get this party started.
Thanks, Comrade Chair. Dramatic events have unfolded in Minnesota over the past month or so. Trump sent in 3,000 masked ICE agents, which is a special division of the federal police force. And we saw these ICE agents rampage people's apartments and homes, launch vicious attacks against people and taking some of these people and interning them. And we saw 2 extrajudicial killings, one of Renee Good and one of Alex Preddy. Now, Marx once said that sometimes the revolution needs the whip of reaction.
Yes, I am very familiar with Workers Over Billionaires. We've watched Workers Over Billionaires before. I probably have that email in one of my secret identities, if I'm being honest about it. I know exactly who you're talking about, Old Subsailor. Thanks for the update.
Assume that Donald Trump never read that quote, but he basically unleashed the whip of reaction, and it caused a tremendous upsurge in Minneapolis. On January 23rd, there was a day of a general strike and a day of action.
Wait. Was Fat Ass Jill in Dr. Drew's chat? I'm not even going to say her Twitter name. We're just going to call her Fat Ass Jill from now on. Was Fat Ass Jill in Dr. Drew's chat? If you don't know who I'm talking about, I just got a message on Twitter saying that a certain fat ass who stalks me around the internet. And when I say, listen, I'm not just saying this willy-nilly. I'm not just saying this willy-nilly. When I'm talking about fat ass Jill, let me show you what she actually looks like, just so we can all be clear what we're talking about. This woman follows me around the internet and basically stalks every single thing I say and do. I just got a message on Twitter saying, it was a good appearance, and I noticed a certain fat ass Jill was in the chat telling them they needed to vet their guests better. It was a big W all around. Did anyone see her in the chat? Or have you guys all blocked her? Yeah, this is one of the people that's been stalking me for years, tries to destroy every interview I do, tries to destroy every single appearance I have, because she's a jealous fat ass that has nothing to do with her sad, pathetic life except for stalk me and obsess about me and watch everything I say. She's probably watching right now. Everyone say hi to my 600-pound life, fat ass Jill. Hi, Jill. We know you're watching because you're an obsessive cunt. Hi. So sorry you couldn't get them to cancel my appearance, Jill. I know you probably tried. I know you whined, you complained. You said, but she is really mean on Twitter, and it didn't make a fucking difference. You stupid fucking cunt. Hi. She's also, by the way, very pissed off that I'm losing weight right now. Very pissed off I'm losing weight. But that's okay, because she's not, and too bad so sad, bitch. Too bad so sad. Okay, back to work. Back to work. Enough. No. Yo, thanks, Mike, for this the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, maybe she should try the keto starvation diet. Maybe she should try the keto intermittent fasting starvation diet. Yeah, go write a fucking article about it. Do you know she wrote an article the other day that said, I think Karlyn and her community invented Stacey Long just to go viral on Twitter. And I was like, that would have actually been pretty fucking smart had we done that. But sadly, that is not something we did.
Estimates of 50,000 to 100,000 people participating in that. And yes, it was limited participation, but still, it was the first citywide general strike we've seen in the United States in 80 years. And I think it's the first general strike that's occurred in Minneapolis since 1934, when the Trotskyist-led Teamsters Union led that strike. Now we have to ask ourselves, what's behind Trump's attacks? Why is he doing this? Now we know Trump cannot deliver on any of his promises on the economy. The economic problems in the United States are a result of the decay of American capitalism. None of Trump's tariff policy.
All the problems in the United States are the result of American capitalism. So the Revolutionary Communists of America, guys, the reason the Revolutionary Communists of America is a political party in America is not because they believe in elections, is not because they're going to run candidates for elections, because they don't believe in elections and they're not going to run candidates. The reason the Revolutionary Communists of America is a political party is because they believe that the United States is in late stage capitalism. They believe the proletariat are going to rise up in a revolution literally at any moment. And they are trying to give people an organization to join now so that they can prepare for the coming revolution when it eventually sparks. They don't know when it's going to start. They don't know how it's going to start, but they are literally, like I've seen them say this, they are literally preparing for some sort of spark that starts the proletarian uprising. And the reason they're a political party is to give people something to join, to create a social ecosystem so that they're already all set and ready to go when the shit starts really popping off. Everyone understand that? That's what he's talking about when he's saying late stage capitalism.
Is going to bring that back. Less people are employed in manufacturing now than when he came into office. Inflation is still high. And according to Trump's own figures, which frankly, I don't think we can trust, the real unemployment rate is 8%, higher than last January when he came into office. He's unable to deliver on the economy, and he needed something to distract the attention of the American people. And I know nobody's probably heard this, but there's another scandal going on regarding the Epstein files.
Oh,
Trump opened up that can of worms, and now he can't control it.
Yeah,
He
they
also
want to be the
needed,
vanguard. Yes.
something
Yes,
to distract
correct.
people from that. But Trump, for a long
Yeah.
time, has
W
been
to
trying to
Deeds.
use
Thank you, Deeds.
immigrants in the United States as scapegoats. The first thing I want to mention, by the way, is that when we talk about immigrants, a lot of the people who are immigrants in the United States right now are not simply immigrants, they are refugees. American capitalism always wanted cheap immigrant labor. That's how it grew. And they prefer to keep these people in a precarious position. In other words, they want to keep them as so-called illegal. Why are they coming to the United States in droves? Because US imperialism and world capitalism has not been able to develop Latin America, Africa, large parts of Asia and the Pacific, and develop those economies so that people can provide.
No. We hinge into reality here. These people hate Joe Biden. They always hated Joe Biden. They didn't vote for Joe Biden. They didn't vote for Kamala Harris. These people protested the DNC. They were outside protesting Kamala Harris. You are confusing Democrats and communists, probably because you consume too much conservative media. They are not the same thing. We need to start hinging into reality.
Could provide a decent lifestyle for them and their families. In fact, they're in a desperate situation. They're drowning in poverty. 44% of the world's population lives on less than $6.85 a day. Is there any wonder why people are trying to save themselves, to go to places that look relatively prosperous? So Trump tried to use this cultural war, this attack on immigrants, as a way to divide the working class, to make the workers stop thinking of themselves in a class term, but start thinking of themselves based on where they were born. Is this us versus them mentality, that they are bringing the poverty, they are bringing the crime. So he launches this cultural war and attacks workplaces looking for people who are so-called illegal immigrants. But in attacking these workplaces, he actually turned the cultural war into a class war. Now, Trump, what he's doing.
So that's interesting. So the communist perspective, at least in the Revolutionary Communists of America, is basically that when Trump started going into places like Home Depot to deport illegals that were working there and stuff like that, he instead turned the culture war, which they're going to say that Trump is racist because he wants to deport all the non-white people and all that stuff. He turned the culture war into a class war, which turned the entire kind of like working class against the Trump administration. Now, whether or not that's true it doesn't make a difference. I need people to understand this. Whether or not what he just said is true, it doesn't matter. What matters is he believes that's true. He believes that the mass deportations that Trump promised have actually started a class war in America. And remember, it's important to understand the psychology of the RCA, because the RCA believes the proletarian are going to start an uprising literally any minute now. So for him, this is like when Christians think Jesus is coming or something like that. This is like this is like Christians saying he's coming back any second. He's coming back any second. The communists believe this is a class war. This is our time. We're ready. We're ready. Revolution. That's the mindset that's going on here.
Is absolutely reactionary, and we completely oppose to all of his policies and everything he's doing. But these events have posed some questions from the movement. Many people have said, is Trump a dictator? Is he a fascist? And I think we should answer these questions carefully. Trump is definitely a different kind of president, that's for sure.
Hang on. The fact that this is in Canada, we're not talking about Canada. The person speaking is in the Revolutionary Communists of America. So no offense to Canadians. I have Canadians in my community, and I love my Canadian community members, especially Mizakan. Mizakan is our #1 Canadian. But I don't give a fuck about Canada, and I don't give a fuck about how it works in Canada. And it's not my concern. I don't study the Canadian system. I have not studied communism in Canada or Marxism in Canada. The reason we're watching this is he is a member of the American Revolutionary Communists, and so we're interested in his perspective as an American person.
Is he really more violent than past American presidents? You know, the bourgeois state exists to defend
Capitalist.
the rule of the bourgeois. The bourgeois state comes down to ultimately to arm bodies of men. There are different.
He's taught when he says bourgeois state, he means the United States of America. When he says bourgeois state, he means capitalist state, oppressive state. These people believe that America is literally built on capitalism. They believe the Constitution is a capitalist document that's been created to protect the rights of the property owners over the workers. So anytime you hear them say bourgeois state, you need to code switch in your head to know it means capitalist state, to know he's talking about the United States government. They want to abolish the bourgeois state, the property owning state. And that means abolishing the government, abolishing the US Constitution.
But is he really more violent than past American presidents? You know, the bourgeois state exists to defend the rule of the bourgeois. The bourgeois state comes down to ultimately to arm bodies of men. There are different forms of bourgeois states. There are dictatorships, there's fascist states, and there's bourgeois democracy. The United States has been under a form of bourgeois democracy for about 250 years.
Bing.
But even the most democratic bourgeois.
So since the Constitution was written, the United States has been under a bourgeois democracy. Again, that means capitalist democracy. This is why it's important that we understand what their language means. When he's talking about the United States being a bourgeois democracy, and he's talking about the idea that they need to overthrow capitalism in order to create an equitable society, he is literally talking about overthrowing the United States government and abolishing the Constitution. He's not, well, they do say that outright, but like, I need everyone to understand that's what he's talking about here. Does everyone understand this? 1 in the chat if you understand what I just explained and it makes sense to you. 2 in the chat if you're still confused. The reason I point this out explicitly is this pronouncement of saying we need to overthrow the bourgeois state. It doesn't come with fireworks. It's not aggressive. It's just saying like, oh yeah, the United States has been a bourgeois state for 250 years, and we need to get rid of that bourgeois democracy. It's like it's so quiet, and if you don't understand what he's talking about, you might miss it. But he literally just called to overthrow the United States government and abolish the Constitution. Listen again.
Different forms of bourgeois states. There are dictatorships, there's fascist states, and there's bourgeois democracy. The United States has been under a form of bourgeois.
Can you define what the left means by capitalism, Dr. Germ Scary? I've never seen you in the chat before, and you're coming in looking like you know. Have you had any channel activity at all? No, first time on the channel. Listen, bro, we love first timers on the channel. But do you know what the left means when they say capitalism? This is only a question for Dr. Germ Scary. No one else answer this. No hints. Do you? And if I ask you a question in my chat, you will answer me. Either give me an answer or say you don't know. What does the left mean when they say the word capitalism? Waiting for you, Dr. Germ Scary. Entire stream stopped just for you. You have 30 seconds to answer me or I'm permanently banning you in my chat. Okay, so what is it? So define it for us. We're waiting. We're waiting. Define it. What does the left mean when they say capitalism? Entire stream stopped just for you. You will answer me or you will say, I don't know. If you don't do one of those two things, I'm going to permanently ban you from my channel. How does the left define capitalism? We're waiting. Tick tock, tick tock. No, not what I asked. Not what I asked. Well, then you need to answer the question. If you're reading my books, then fine. But you need to answer you are in a classroom right now. You are in my classroom right now. You will answer the question. How does the left define capitalism? Either it's, okay, what does that mean? We're getting somewhere now. What does that mean? It's okay to say you don't know, but I'm making a point here. No, he didn't. I asked what that means. He did not get it. What does private property ownership mean? Nope, that's no. Use your words. What does private property ownership mean to the left? You want to come into my chat and make statements like you know what you're talking about? You damn well better be, don't answer. Don't answer. Only him. You want to come into my chat and make declarations like you know what you're talking about and you don't understand why other people don't understand this? You will know basic 101 level information. And if you don't know basic 101 level information, if you cannot define for us what the left means when they say private property ownership, then you should not be coming into my classroom and making okay, so you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't understand the question. Let me explain it to you. When the left says capitalism, you're right. They do mean private property ownership. Private property ownership can be defined as bourgeois property. That means property that they can use to create privatized personal wealth. That means your ability to own a home, your ability to own land, your ability to own an apartment rental that you rent out as a landlord, your ability to own intellectual property, your ability to own a private business, whether or not that private business is big or small. It also means parental rights over your children. If you do not understand this definition, you do not understand the left. So you're obviously new here. We love new people here, but you need to cure yourself of the habit of thinking you know everything because you don't know basic 101 level information. So I'm making this very clear to you because your job here is to learn. It is to unlearn every conservative bullshit talking point that you came into my chat with. It is to never make a statement declaring that you know the absolute truth again, because now we know you don't know basic 101 level information. It is fine to be a beginner at something, but you need to acknowledge that you are a beginner and you need to relearn everything from scratch because you don't know the basics. So we've now proven that. I hope you stick around, but remember, you are in a classroom. You are not the teacher in this classroom. I am the teacher in this classroom. My mods are the teacher in this classroom. We will teach you everything we know, but you have to be willing to show up and learn and listen. Let's continue.
Bourgeois democracy for about 250 years. But even the most democratic bourgeois democracies are very repressive. It's a state apparatus. It exists to repress the masses, the majority. And I would argue, if you look at the American bourgeois democracy, it's one of the most repressive states in the history of all these bourgeois democratic states. And there's nothing qualitatively different between Trump and past presidents in that respect. You know, last year, 2025, they estimate
There is nothing different between Trump and other presidents because every president, regardless of whether or not they were Republican or Democrat, and remember, we're watching communists. These people have never voted for Democrats. They didn't support Biden. They didn't support Kamala Harris. They didn't support Obama either. Every president is a bourgeois president. Every president is a fascist because every president upholds the capitalist United States. They want to abolish the government and the Constitution.
that 1,314 people were killed by the police, which is almost 3.6 people getting killed every single day. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. You're supposed to have a day in court. These people were killed before they were arrested. Okay, so that's the number last year under Trump. What was it in 2024 when Joe Biden was president? It was actually a little more. It was 1,365 people killed by the police. I don't have the time to go through an entire history of repression under the U.S. democratic state, but I'll just mention a few things to think about. For example, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who is revered by liberals, by reformists, and by Stalinists as some great president in the United States. For more than 3 years, he interned Japanese Americans, including American citizens, in internment camps during World War II. They were not arrested. They didn't go to court. They were thrown in these internment camps.
Lightning bolts in the chat. Holocaust mentioned. Lightning bolts in the chat, please.
Just because they were of Japanese descent. When this was challenged at the Supreme Court backed Roosevelt's policies. Funny, nobody calls FDR a dictator. Nobody calls him a fascist. We don't think he was a dictator or fascist, but this is how repressive American bourgeois democracy can be. During the civil rights movement in Detroit in 1967, there was an uprising by the black population in that city. The police, the National Guard, and even the U.S. airborne troops, military, was sent in. The government killed 43 people, injured 1,189, and made over 7,200 arrests, as well as destroying 400 buildings. This was done under Democratic President Lyndon Baines Johnson. In 1985 in Philadelphia, the liberal Democratic mayor, Wilson Goode, authorized the police to drop a bomb on the home that a cult group called The Move lived in. Supposedly, the city was worried about how the Move cult was treating its children, the children who lived there. Well, they dropped the bomb and they killed 6 adults and 5 children. In addition, 61 houses, more than 2 city blocks, were destroyed, and 250 people were left homeless. All done under bourgeois democracy in the United States. I could go over many other examples. I won't get into like the Rodney King uprising in Los Angeles in 1992. But I think when we look at what Trump is doing, we should look at in the context of what the American state has done in the past. I think we should use these movements and use these struggles to explain to people where do democratic rights come from. But even those Bill of Rights in the Constitution was a byproduct of struggle, was a byproduct of the American Revolution. The end of chattel slavery came about because of the second part of the American Revolution, the Civil War. The right to fight, to found unions, and the right to strike was achieved by the struggles of the working class when all those things were made illegal. Women gained the right to vote because they struggled to fight for that right, and because in 1917, the Russian Revolution gave women the right to vote. 2 years later, they finally give women the right to vote.
Wait, real? It was communists who gave women the right to vote? Okay.
United States, 2 years after the Russian Revolution. The civil rights movement had to fight and struggle. People faced water hoses, dogs, killings to bring an end to Jim Crow segregation and to fight for the right to vote. The bourgeois state.
Do you guys know that if you go to my merch store, which is redmenacesupply.com, do you know you can literally buy a t-shirt that says "Make water cannons great again," and it has a water cannon on it against a group. I'm just giving a shameless plug for my merch. If you've ever wanted a t-shirt advocating for the benefits of water cannons, you can find that t-shirt right now on redmenacesupply.com, the greatest anti-communist merch site on the entire internet. Hey, thanks, Little Miss, for being a member of the channel for 24 months. To those who are just learning, many of us have been researching for about 6 years now. It takes a while to actually understand. It does take time. It does take effort. I really appreciate you, Little Miss. Thanks so much for the member chat. Guys, I want to remind you that we are trying to get 100 new channel members for our spy stream tonight. We are about 26% of the way to our goal. If you appreciate the free class on the far left that I'm holding on the internet right now, if I'm teaching you something, if you're seeing this information that you've never seen before, please consider donating some channel memberships. I'm independently funded. I can only do this if you allow me to, and donating channel memberships brings more people into my community, gives more people access to Spy Stream tonight, or you could become a channel member yourself if you're not already. W's Little Miss in the chat. When you donate channel memberships, we will give you a round of W's in the chat for supporting the community. Thanks so much, bro. 5 gifted channel memberships brings us up to 31. 31. See, I'm going to get annoying in a little while if you guys haven't met the goal, but we're chugging along pretty good right now. Yo! Whoa! Old Sub Sailor, the big swinging dick of the community so far. Old Sub Sailor, 20 gifted channel memberships. Massive, massive, massive W, bro. Massive W. Welcome to all the new channel members. And just like that, we are over halfway to our goal today. You guys rock. Thank you for supporting my community. Let's continue.
In general, does not give rights. It tries to take rights and limit rights. The battle for rights comes from the struggles of the population and the working class. It's the working class that has to battle to defend and expand the rights of the population.
Yo!
I would also
Duchess!
point out that
W's in the chat for Duchess. 5 gifted channel memberships. Really appreciate it.
you know, if we did have a question of a fascist dictatorship in the United States, there would be a process that would put fascism in power. You'd have to mobilize paramilitary forces made up of petty bourgeois lumpen elements. And then these right-wing paramilitary forces would smash the organizations of the working class.
We got a super chat, EP. So I've been listening on my own, and it seems like some, not all, make a clear distinction between private property and personal property. Aha! The private property versus personal property gaslight. So they want to get rid of private property but allow personal property. This is an excellent question, and I'm really glad you asked it because it gives me the opportunity to explain the difference between the two. When you are talking to leftists, oftentimes this is a trick that the left uses to gaslight people. They say, don't worry, we don't want to take your property. We're not going to take your gun or your car or your computer. We're just going to take the bourgeois property. Bourgeois property is what the Communist Manifesto specifically says. We're just going to take the bourgeois property from the oppressors. We're not going to take your property. Well, you have to understand the difference between private property and personal property. Private property is bourgeois property, property that a person can use to create privatized individual wealth that gives them access to more money and more resources than other people. Personal property is just stuff that you own, but it's not necessarily going to allow you to amass privatized individual wealth. So, for example, personal property are things like your phone, your computer, your dog, your car, your toothbrush, things like that. These are things that you own. It's your personal property. They're not going to try to take any of those things away from you because those things by themselves are not going to allow you to become a bourgeois private property owner and to amass more private property and more individual wealth than other people. You could argue, okay, I can use my computer to start a business, fine, but the ownership of the computer itself or the ownership of the phone itself is not going to be enough to allow you to amass a large quantity of private wealth. Whereas when they're talking about private property, they're talking about your ability to own a home. They do not want private home ownership to exist. They will take your home. We've seen them do this. They make the argument that people should not own more than one home. And if you own more than one home, then you should give up your second home to allow homeless people to live in your second home. They've advocated for squatters' rights. These are the people who make it impossible to evict renters who are on their property and things like that. So they do not want any of you, not me, not you, not your kids, to own a home, because home ownership allows people to create privatized individual wealth. They also don't want people to be landlords. They fucking hate landlords. The far left organizes tenant unions to actively basically fuck off with their landlords, where they hate landlords. They don't want landlords to exist because they don't want private property ownership to exist. They also don't want land ownership to exist because they think that the land is under the collective caretakership of the community rather than being privately owned. So they don't want you to be able to own any private land that you can then exclude people from and say, this is only for my private use. They also don't want intellectual property to exist. They don't want people to be able to own private businesses, whether or not that private business is big or small. And the most important thing that people need to understand about the definition of bourgeois property ownership is it does extend to parental rights over your children. Every single attack on parental rights in the world today comes from the radical revolutionary far left, because they don't think parental rights should exist, because parental rights allows for the passing of privatized personal wealth from parent to child. So that is their definition. No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I appreciate the super chat. Eventually I could barter with those things. No, you cannot barter with your computer to create a significant quantity of private personal wealth. My computer's a $3,000 computer, right? That's $3,000 is nothing to sneeze at, but $3,000 is not enough to create an economic disparity. My home right now is valued, I think, over over $250,000 or something like that. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now, when you're getting into like the hundreds of thousands of dollars range, now we're starting to cook with gas. So it's not the ownership of the computer that's going to allow you to amass private wealth. That is why the computer is considered personal property and not private property. The house is considered private property because that allows you to amass private wealth that creates economic disparities between you and other people. Do you understand the difference? Yes, because the whole point is the left is about the left believes that capitalism, private property ownership creates all hierarchies. Hierarchies are when some people have more private property than other people. That means they have more private wealth than other people. That creates a hierarchy. It's the hierarchy that's oppressive. So that's what they're trying to get rid of. That's the difference between personal property and private property. So every time a leftist is saying, don't worry, we don't want to take your personal property, they're not talking about the big things. They're not talking about your ability to own a home. They're not talking about your ability to own land or own an apartment or own intellectual property or own a private business or have parental rights over your kids. It's very, very important that people understand these definitions. And listen, yeah, it's great that they're going to let us keep our cell phone, except they're going to be the ones that control the cell phone service. It's great that they're going to let us keep our computer. They're the ones that are going to be controlling the internet. It's great that they're going to let us keep our toothbrush, but there's going to be it's going to be all healthcare is going to be free, available on demand to everyone, which means it's really going to suck for everyone. This is why it's critical we understand the definitions. I really do appreciate you asking the question. We got a couple new member chats that have come in, I think. Let me see. Thanks, Just a College Dropout. How does the far left see this ending for them if there are factions that have a common goal but do not agree with each other? They believe, okay, they're trying to overthrow the government and abolish the Constitution. Beyond that, their utopian society is a little fuzzy. They have different ideas for how it could run, but what would probably end up happening is separate communities for different factions, exactly like they're organized now, because the left is a highly decentralized, non-hierarchical model. And so it would probably be very similar to how they're operating now, but just think of like a bunch of like smaller communities, just like they have individual cells. The communities run themselves as like communes, and then they come together to communicate with each other and to try to work out their differences and shit like that. But they're still like a little bit fuzzy in terms of like, how is the utopian society actually going to run? Because they think that they just need to overthrow the government and abolish capitalism before they get there. It's a good question, though. I really do appreciate the super chat. Let me see. Already answered that one. Hey, welcome to the cult, bro. We really appreciate it. Another channel member to add to the list. Guys, if I just taught you something about the far left that you didn't know before, please consider donating some channel memberships or becoming a channel member yourself. That would be rad. We got old Sub in there sitting in a bar, sipping a double apple crown. That sounds delightful. And learning about the far left. It's your Friday. Wow. Good for you, old Sub. I really appreciate you joining us from the bar.
Smash the unions. Now, is the bourgeois able to do that right now in the United States? I'll let the comrades from Minneapolis, they could talk about that fascist guy, what happened to him and when he decided to protest in Minneapolis. But even aside, even if they had the forces to do it, I don't even know if the bourgeois would want to smash the trade unions right now. The trade union leaders play an extremely important role in holding back the struggle of the working class in the United States.
That's not true.
So I don't think
that's not true at all. But this is one of those things where communists always need to think that they're losing. Now, listen, the far left absolutely controls the unions. 100% the far left controls the unions. However, I'm not entirely convinced the RCA has access to that. Because the RCA, I haven't really seen them be active in the unions. Like the Democratic Socialists of America are extremely active in the unions. The teachers' unions are extremely active. I haven't seen a lot of RCA members active in the unions, so that could be what they're talking about, but I'm not exactly sure. It could also just be that, like, communists always need to tell themselves they're losing in order to perpetuate the revolution. My dog is having feelings downstairs. I wonder what's going on.
You know, we should go along with that idea that Trump is a fascist, Trump is a dictator. But of course, we're completely against his reactionary policies. And as we saw the events unfold in Minneapolis, the class balance of forces are well on the side of the working class. And even without a good, strong leadership, we have seen a partial victory against Trump. We've seen him defeated. Trump was forced to pull out Bovino. He was forced to pull out Nome. And now he's announced that he's moving most of the ICE people out of Minnesota. That would not have happened if the class balance of forces were not so in favor of the working class. That would not have happened without the determination and the fight of those people. But we have to say it's a partial.
Again, like for people who are new, I cannot overstate this enough. The left talking about the far left winning in Minnesota and pushing Trump out of the city. This is the first time in years. The 5 years that I've been doing this, this is the first time in years I have ever heard the left talk about themselves winning. This does not happen. It is extremely rare. And so the fact that the left is like, we totally fucking kicked their asses in Minnesota, that should terrify everyone, because that means the left is going to be doubling down on every single tactic that they used in Minnesota, trying to export those tactics into every other city. And I'm sorry, the Trump administration definitely doesn't want to admit this. They are completely fucked when it comes to mass deportations. We're not getting mass deportations. The far left has won. ICE has been defeated. The American public is now turning against ICE. We're probably going to see the Republican Party turn against ICE because the general sentiment is turning against ICE. But like, this is a really big effing deal. And it's going to be a big problem. KK, thank you for being a member of the channel for 3 months. Thanks for your tireless work. Been on a trip since following you since August. Why do you think these guys never mention the Epstein files? They mention the Epstein files all the time. What are you talking about? The far left has been talking about the Epstein files all the fucking time in the last several months. It's all over their social media. They call Trump a pedophile. We've seen protesters calling Trump a pedophile. We saw them do it in the State of the Union the other day. So they absolutely talk about the Epstein files. They've been talking about the Epstein files for a while. It just doesn't make its way onto conservative media because it doesn't fit the narrative. Dragon Tail says, in my opinion, the unions in the DSA, which is more organized and strongly funded, are more aligned with their reformist approach to abolishing capitalism. Yes, I do definitely agree with that. The unions are definitely more reformist, but the thing is, the unions are the things that's connecting all the far left activism. So no. The far left's been talking about Epstein for a while. The progressives are too, but
victory. Because after all, Trump is still in power, and this was a defensive struggle, but not an offensive struggle. And if we had larger forces there, Marxism would want to turn this defensive struggle into an offensive struggle. Now, we argued that what needed to be done in this situation is action committees should have been formed in all the neighborhoods and all the workplaces. Now, the purpose of those action committees would be to defend people in the neighborhoods, defend people in the workplaces, but that each of those action committees should have elected delegates that could meet on a citywide, or in the case of Minneapolis, St. Paul, a twin citywide basis. Imagine a meeting like even bigger than this, where you have representatives from thousands of workplaces and neighborhoods sending delegates into one concentrated position. In a certain sense, that would have become, basically an embryo of a Soviet. Now, when the general strike happened on January 23rd, it was partial. The two labor federations, the Minneapolis and the St. Paul Regional Labor Federations, they have tens of thousands of members, but they really didn't organize to shut down like the airport, construction, mass transit. But if there had been this kind of citywide collection of delegates from the action committees, this entity either would have forced them to do something, or it itself could have directed the strike action. And this
okay, I want you guys to listen to this. Again, we don't debunk them. This is not useful to the conversation. What we care about is what the left says. We don't care about what reality is because the left doesn't give a fuck about reality. So please, no debunking, guys. Every time you guys are debunking them, you are not listening to what they're saying. In order to learn, you need to shut the fuck up and listen and stop saying, actually, here's what happened. It doesn't matter, okay? It truly doesn't fucking matter. I want people to listen to this again. He's talking about they did this mass strike on January 23rd, but they didn't really do the type of coordination required to shut down the entire economy. I really want people to understand this. The goal for May Day 20, no. See, now I have to go back and deal with conservative retardation. You were debunking your entire fucking chat. This is a debunk. Do not fucking question me in my fucking classroom. This entire thing, what really happened is X, Y, B, and Z. I don't fucking care what really happened. It doesn't fucking matter. You've got to fucking stop. Your job is to sit down, shut the fuck up, listen to what the left is saying, and actually learn something. The people in the video cannot hear you. Anyway, back to something far more important than conservative fucking feelings. The far left is trying to, on May 1st, 2026, the far left is going to try to shut down the entire economy. This is actually much more important than whatever feelings conservatives are having at any given fucking moment. They are going to try to shut down the entire economy. That includes the airlines. That includes the auto workers. That includes the grocery stores. That includes Amazon, which is where a lot of people get their deliveries from. That includes the schools, guys. The teachers' unions. I should play the video. I will in a second, old sub. I should play it. I should have played it. You're right. That includes the schools, guys. And when the left shuts down the schools because the teachers go on strike, that also means that parents can't go to work, and that is factored into their decision making. They're trying to shut down the schools so that not only do the schools get shut down and kids get to roam around free to do whatever the fuck they want, parents also have to stay home from work in order to babysit the children that would have been babysat by the schools. So I want everyone to really, really understand what we're talking about here. He just went through it. The two major labor federations, they didn't really organize to actually shut down the economy, but they're saying we can better organize next time being May 1st, 2026. And then this is all practice. That's exactly right. This is all practice leading up to May 1st, 2028, which is the large national mass general strike, in which they're really going to try to shut things down for an extended period of time.
Happened on January 23rd. It was partial. The two labor federations, the Minneapolis and the St. Paul Regional Labor Federations, they have tens of thousands of members, but they really didn't organize to shut down like the airport, construction, mass transit. But if there had been this kind of citywide collection of delegates from the action committees, this entity either would have forced them to do something, or it itself could have directed the strike action. And this movement could have taken it from a defensive movement into an offensive movement, fighting for jobs.
Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking retarded? You know, a parent staying home from work, that's actually a positive thing. Retard. The entire economy getting shut down is not a positive thing. Forcing parents to stay home from work because you have literally shut down the public schools through the teachers union is not a positive thing. The amount of retardation that we have to deal with on a daily basis would kill a I haven't even smoked weed today. That might have to change very, very, very soon. Very soon indeed. Very soon indeed.
Higher wages, organizing unions, more housing, rents capped at 10% of income, and the fight for free universal health care, which we don't have in the United States. These are the issues, the lack of high-paying jobs, lack of health care. These are the issues that Trump uses to divide the working class. The movement must go on the offensive to fight for these things. Now, there were many committees formed in many neighborhoods and workplaces, but it was not linked up. There was no leadership arguing to link these committees up. There's 3.7 million people that live in the Twin Cities area. If there had been a Revolutionary Party that would have had at least 2,000 members in that metro area, I think things would have been completely different. But we were not big enough to be able to play that role. Still, the comrades will come in and explain what we did do in that situation, how we did argue for things. I think Minneapolis, in the end, will be a great learning experience for the development of the Revolutionary Party in the United States. Yes, we recruited members.
Oh, great.
But what's more important is that we're learning from this experience. Lenin said, revolutions are festivals of the...
That's another point I wanted to make before I was interrupted by conservative retardation in my chat. So conservatives always make fun of the left every time the left has a protest. Hey, thanks, old stuff. Where is Cynthia? I know we need Cynthia. Where are you? We have 43 more channel memberships to hit the goal. That's okay. We can give Cynthia a day off. Cynthia doesn't have to be. You guys should really be picking up the slack for Cynthia, if I'm being honest about it. Old Sub Sailor's picking up the slack for Cynthia. Everyone else who's donated a channel membership today has picked up the slack for Cynthia. Where the fuck are the rest of you? If everyone in the chat right now just donated one channel membership, we would blow this fucking thing out of the water. Everyone needs to pick up the slack. I mean, come on. Anyway, what I was going to say is the right always makes fun of the left every time the left has a protest or something, and the right goes, that didn't even yo, Look at here it comes. Here it comes. W's in the chat. Anti-commie 5 gifted channel memberships. W's in the chat for Old Sub Sailor gifting another 5 channel memberships. You guys rock. Thanks so much. Just like that, we're within striking distance of our goal, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Anyway, thanks so much for the super chat, Tuppence. Oh wow, for getting us into the retardia weeds. Hey, I'm sorry. I wish we didn't have to deal with as much retardia as we do. It's a fact of life. W's in the chat for Sid, 5 channel memberships. Devil Bunny. I love it. W's in the chat for Devil Bunny. Really appreciate that. Think we got another member chat coming in here that'll show up on my screen in a second. Let me update that channel membership goal. I'm going to have to do math here. That was the 373, I think, is the number. There we go. There we go. Yo, gifted channel membership from IM. Thank you, IM. Appreciate you as always. Guys, we are like almost there. Almost at our goal. We can taste it. We know it's coming. Anyway, what I was saying is, thank you, Old Sub. Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. You're a legend, bro. You are a fucking legend. The right likes to make fun of the left when they do things that maybe don't go as well as it could. So the left holds a small protest and the right goes, hey, thanks, Ben. I really do appreciate that. The left holds a small protest and the right goes, they suck for reasons X, Y, B, and Z, and they're not even accomplishing anything and blah, 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 blah. Yo, welcome to the cult, Germ Scary. Really appreciate it. You know what? I love it when I give people a stern talking to and then they give me money because they appreciate my work. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining the cult. Your life is over. You're never leaving, but we're going to have friends during the revolution, and that's going to be awesome. But what the right doesn't understand is, W's in the chat, Ninja Artist. Thank you for the gifted channel membership. Slowly but surely, guys. Slowly but surely. What the right doesn't understand is that every time the left is doing a protest, they're learning. Even if there's not that many people at the protest, they go back and they do an after action report or something where they say, here's what we learned, here's what didn't go well, here's what can go better next time. Every single direct action they do, whether or not they consider it a success or whether or not they consider it a failure, they are learning something. And all of that learning builds on itself so that they get better and better and better. That's why anti-ICE organizing went from being this big at the beginning of 2025 to now literally defeating the Trump administration. How many right-wingers were making fun of the anti-ICE protests or the Tesla protests or any of the other protests back at the beginning of 2025? And then all of a sudden, riots started breaking out, and all of a sudden, the left started taking over major cities, and all of a sudden, the Trump administration was kicked out of multiple cities by the far left protesters because the far left won, because they kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and more organized and better at what they were doing the entire year while right-wingers were making fun of it. I really want people to understand the far left sees this as a long game. They don't see it as a short-term thing. They see it as a long-term goal. And they're constantly making improvements. So even if they have an event or a direct action or a protest that doesn't go as well as they wanted it to or doesn't attract as many people as they wanted it to, it doesn't matter because they're going to have another one and another one after that. And they're going to apply all the learnings from that last one to say, how can we do it better next time? It's highly organized and strategic. I hope people see that. W's in the chat. Jay Birdie gifting a channel membership. W's in the chat. Tolkien fan. Another 5 gifted channel memberships. You guys are the fucking best. I have the best community on all of YouTube. We are now up to 82 out of 100 channel memberships on our way to the goal. We got Matthew and Rock On. Thank you, Matthew, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Old Sub, good chat crew today. You guys are awesome. You're awesome, Old Sub Sailor. We love you, bro. We appreciate you. All right, let's keep going.
Pressed movements like this have elements of revolution in them. With the right leadership, it could have become pre-revolutionary, at least in that city. We're going to use these rich lessons to educate our comrades, because there are going to be many more such battles ahead in the future. We will build our forces, and we will aim to play a much larger role when things like this open up in the future. Thanks. Thank you.
So, comrades, January 7th was a watershed moment in the American labor movement. It was the first time I heard the word general strike uttered by an average worker who, until that day, likely did not even consider.
Hang on. Fosnauts. The hero we need. The hero we need. Fosnauts. 20 gifted channel memberships. Massive W's for Fosnauts. We also got Anthony over on Rumble. Anthony, I see you too, bro. 5 channel memberships over on Rumble from Anthony. And just like that, we have met our goal. You guys can keep giving channel memberships, though. The more channel memberships we give out, the more people who are joining us for Spy Stream. A little later on tonight, we will be doing Spy Stream starting in about an hour. You have to be a supporter on one of the many platforms I have in order to join us for Spy Stream. That includes my Substack, my Locals, my Patreon, my Twitter subscribers, or my YouTube channel members. So please feel free to continue giving channel memberships. But I just want to do a great big thank you to everyone who has donated 107 channel memberships today so far. That's 107 new members of the channel, 107 more people who are going to be able to join us for Spy Stream later. You guys rock. I really appreciate it. We have met the goal, and let's continue.
It as a possibility in her lifetime. But sometimes things develop at a breakneck speed. In the mid-afternoon, I received a phone call from a comrade about a vigil taking place to honor the life of Renee Good,
comrade,
who was brutally murdered by an ICE officer in cold blood.
Hans! W's in the chat for Hans. 20 more gifted channel memberships. Holy shit. Holy shit. I think my community wants me to get a new purse tonight. I think they might want me to get a new purse. I'm just saying. You guys are the best. Thank you so much, Hans. You are a champion and a legend and a king.
Had just heard what happened and felt a burning rage as I got ready for the intervention. We did not expect it to be very big, so we did not mobilize our full area. Rather, we decided to only send a few people to scope things out for safety purposes. After all, if it isn't that big, it's very possible that ICE agents could try to harass the protesters that do gather there. Even before this happened, we were already planning on releasing a video for our social media about ICE in Minneapolis. Now,
hey, thanks for sending a member chat, Hans. I appreciate you being a member of the channel for 4 months. I saw your work on Drew Pinsky's channel. Just thought I'd stop by and say hello and donate some memberships. I really appreciate that. Hans, did you appreciate when I advocated for putting all leftists in a concentration camp and basically gave Dr. Drew a heart attack on his own show? Did you appreciate that? Yeah, I bet you did. Hey, thanks, Little Miss. We want Victor to get a new Lego project. Victor's actually working on a Lego project. He has the little baby Yoda that he's working on right now. I think there's a little like car or something or ship or whatever the fuck that baby Yoda has. But Victor is currently in the process of a Lego project. So, don't worry about it. The Legos are covered, okay? The Legos are covered. Yo, died suddenly with a gifted channel membership. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. One more for good luck. I love it. Why the heck not? Gets us up to a nice even number. I prefer even numbers to odd numbers myself, but that's just me.
It felt more relevant than ever. Once we did arrive, with the leaflets we had on hand and a few papers, we realized we needed a lot more people. It was just me and 2 other comrades. Thousands of people gathered in the street where Good was murdered to remember her, listening to speeches and discussing amongst themselves what we must do to fight back. A comrade got up on an elevated platform to see how far it goes. They could not see the beginning nor the end of the mass. During this time, our area executive committee in Minneapolis was monitoring events and saw live footage of the size of the protest and quickly realized we definitely needed to send more people into the vigil. The mood was electric. People kept filing in. Everyone not only felt anger, but also felt a burning desire to act, to do something to honor the memory of one of their own and fight back against the terror of ICE in Minneapolis. This murder occurred less than a mile away from where George Floyd was murdered around 5 to 6 years ago.
Hey, thanks so much for the super chat, old sub. Add the lightning bolt to your personal emojis, makes it easier to use. I don't know what that means, though. Add the lightning bolt to your personal emojis. Okay, I'll look into that. I don't know that I know how to do that. I kind of suck at YouTube. As you guys know, I'm a professional streamer on YouTube, but I also kind of suck at it. Thanks, old sub. I appreciate it. Conservatives have had the opportunity to canonize martyrs like Kirk and have throughout history to organize and fight back, but they're lazy and That's so true. They could have made Charlie Kirk a much bigger martyr than he was. They could have made that blonde girl that got murdered by the black guy on the bus. They could have made her a martyr. They could have mythologized these characters just like the left mythologizes Renee Good and Alex Peretti and anyone else that gets involved in any sort of leftist thing ever. That's exactly right. It's an issue of laziness. It's an issue of underestimating your enemy. It's an issue of someone else will fix the problem so I don't have to do anything. And it's just like, can we just try maybe? Can we try to fight back in a intelligent way maybe? Thanks, Dragon Tail. I really do appreciate it.
And the folks present had not forgotten about that. Just like George Floyd, many people saw themselves in Renee. They understood that it could have been any of them, and even if it couldn't, it could still have been someone they know. Their mother, their sister, their aunt, their spouse. They knew if they kept quiet, the terror wouldn't stop. In normal times, everyday workers despise confrontation. They may feel that they can't afford to revolt lest they risk losing what little they have. But in moments like these, that changes. The sentiment of feeling you can't afford to revolt turns into a feeling that you can't afford not to. That's what we saw that day. People were ecstatic at the perspectives we were putting forward. Most agreed that in order to fight ICE.
Oh, you want a special lightning bolt in the membership emojis? Okay, I'll work on that. Totally. We'll get a special lightning bolt for members.
We need a revolution. This is in the land of McCarthy, where the ruling class has vilified revolutionary politics to an extreme, but a growing layer is doubting these lies. One person said, unprompted, that we need a general strike. It was never easier to talk about revolution. This movement picked up where the George Floyd uprising left off, where in 2020, they organized themselves into neighborhood self-defense committees. In 2026, that call reemerged, along with a call for a general strike. But there were two other moments in the vigil that stuck out to me. One moment began rather violently. A car barreled through the street, threatening the lives of many protesters, including myself and my fellow comrades. We immediately hopped onto a snowbank to get to safety, but one of the people that had to evade the car was a contact we had just spoken to about our perspectives on how to fight ICE. This contact immediately got up onto a snowbank and began agitating with those same perspectives. He said the ruling class has us fighting amongst ourselves, just like this, he gestures to the car, when they are the real enemy. This is a class war, and we must fight back through our organizations to drive ICE out of Minneapolis. He then directed the crowd towards us, saying there are people here with great propaganda, and that everyone there must speak to us and educate themselves on the ideas that will liberate them. This person ended up coming to a branch meeting. A comrade was then asked to help a different contact to build a barricade, and if they didn't, this person would not believe in the ideas of our organization. We have to understand here that in times of class peace, or relative class peace, it is us applying pressure on our periphery to activate them in the building of the Revolutionary Party. But in times of class struggle, we find that it is the...
Leonard, how are you not a member of the channel, bro? You've been here for fucking ever. How has Leonard not been gifted a channel membership? That is Leonard, if I could direct a channel membership gift to you, I would in a second, bro. I don't think I can do that, but I really appreciate it. I'm sorry you don't have access to the member emojis. Hopefully Leonard gets a channel membership.
Contacts who put that pressure on us to solely build the movement instead of the party. We must, in these times, remember that the role of the Revolutionary Party is to connect all movements, not build up one or two in an impulsive way when they arise. Shortly after that, we started walking away.
Thanks so much for the super chat, EP. Second time I've heard them say that smaller groups are vulnerable. They're saying they got conservatives to come out even though they were saying they got conservatives to come out even though they disagree, just to protect the First Amendment. They're fighting. Oh yeah. Oh, they take advantage of this stuff all the time, and they know that they can use things like the First Amendment to get conservatives on their side. And listen, man, I'm not saying that free speech isn't a great idea in theory, but what you have to understand is the left wants to abolish the Constitution. So the left does not want to protect the First Amendment. The left does not want to protect free speech. The left wants to abolish the Constitution and overthrow the government. They consider the Constitution to be a capitalist document. And so even if they're saying, we're the ones that are protecting your First Amendment right, they don't mean any of that shit. And people have to start recognizing that, because gullible people can be fooled very easily when they don't understand the language of the left. Really great super chat. I do appreciate it. Yo, W Anti-Commie gifting another channel membership. I really hope Leonard gets one. I want Leonard to have a channel membership.
Vigil. The paper had practically sold itself. All we had to do was hold it up. We were fresh out of our leaflets, had made 18 contacts between the three of us, and we're feeling quite satisfied with what we were able to do with our limited forces. But the workers were not finished. As we were walking away,
Just to be clear, Leonard is actually a supporter. It's just a supporter on another website. And I do appreciate that. I wish we could combine all these things. I really do. I wish we could have one mass site where all the different memberships on all the different sites are combined. But I really do appreciate your support, Leonard. You've been around a long time. I know that. And I hope you don't, I hope you don't miss the, Leonard is a legend. He's been around like basically since the beginning.
we heard more chanting, and we're surprised to find that there were more people than we thought that remained at the protest.
It'll be fine.
Enough for a mass march through the streets of Minneapolis. We saw them pass by and flirted with the idea of joining them, but decided it was better to preserve our energies for the next action. We understood that night that this was the start of a mass movement. There would be no shortage of opportunities for us in the future. We turned to each other and said, this is open season for the communists. It was clear that the old leaders did not have the control they once enjoyed over the movement. The masses were moving on their own and coming to advance conclusions on their own. Whatever the balance sheet of the movement turns out to be, and I think our comrade Owen will have more to say on that. What is unquestionably true is that for the first time, workers were not only talking about class struggle methods to oppose ICE, but neighborhood committees and patrol groups as well. A growing layer of them had no illusions in the Democrats. They have set the tone for the American labor movement, raised the bar for the tactics we can use.
Listen. I appreciate you becoming a channel member today. You need to do less talking, less statements, and more asking questions. These statements are not helping you. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. The things you're putting in the chat have nothing to do. They are not relevant to what is going on right in front of you. So if you want to learn about the left, you have got to stop doing this. You've got to start listening to what they're saying. You've got to start asking questions where you're confused and where you need more information. I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I know what's required to learn. It's just not helpful. I know you mean well. I know you think you understand this stuff. It's not your fault that you've been fed a line of bullshit by whatever conservative influencers you've been listening to, but we need you to ask more questions and do more listening if you want to learn this stuff.
And when the next social explosion does arrive, the workers are beginning to become conscious of their own strength as a united class. No matter the result of this particular movement, however partial the victory at the end, no one can take that away from them. Thank you, comrades.
Merci, camarades. Comrades, what exciting times we're living in. I'll cut right to the chase. I'm going to provide some updates on...
By the way, I just want to point out, just for anyone keeping track, every single person we've heard speak so far in this presentation has been a man. Every single time we watch a communist presentation with women, the first comment is, it's always women. Why is it always women? Women are doing this. We need to repeal the 19th. It's always women. Every single person we've heard speak so far is a man. And I'm not going to come in here and say, men are always doing this. Men suck. We need to get rid of men's ability to vote because it's always men. I'm not going to come in here and say that. It's about 50-50. Like when I'm in these spaces, about 50% of the people there are women, about 50% of the people there are men. And in some organizations, there are more women, and in some organizations, there are more men. But overall, it balances out. It just does. It is not just men. It is not just women. Getting rid of women's ability to vote is not going to solve this problem because there are just as many men doing this stuff as there are women. We need to start hinging into reality on that. Yo, thanks so much for the super chat, just a college dropout. How should we introduce these ideas? We'll wait until I learn more to the common person. Because I've tried showing my family and friends and common conservative ideas, and they said I'm crazy. You have got to understand that people have to be ready to receive this type of information. And if they are not ready to receive the information, there's nothing that you can say. You're only like, what I do is I put information out there. I put clips out there. I make content on the internet. I put in for, even when I'm talking to people, I say, well, have you thought about this or this thing just happened? But I never try to convince anyone of anything anymore because it doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work. And, okay, Bev. You're saying a lot of retard shit in my chat, and the retard shit needs to stop. This is, Bev, I need you to pay very close attention to this informational video. Are you paying attention, Bev? Because this video is just for you.
You take your top lip and connect it to your bottom lip, you will shut the fuck up. Sometimes shutting the fuck up is the best thing you can do.
Okay, I need less talking from you. I need more listening and more asking questions. If you're not willing to do that, we might have to deport you from the channel. But going back to what I was saying, it's like you can't convince anyone of anything. You just have to put information out there. And when no, did I not just tell you to shut the fuck up? Now you're getting put in a 5-minute timeout. If you don't shut the fuck up and stop pushing this retarded bullshit when you come back, you will be permanently banned from the channel. It's like I literally play a video telling someone to shut the fuck up and they're still confused about what I want. I want you to attach your top lip to your bottom fucking lip and shut the fuck up. You cannot convince people of something that they do not want to be convinced of or that they are not ready to be convinced of. It takes a long time and a lot of effort to overcome the cognitive dissonance that is required to overcome when you change your mind, okay?
The ICE Out movement, and I will go over some of the key lessons that we have learned through participating in it. First of all, I'd like to say that the uprising in Minneapolis over the past few weeks is really a preview of events to come. Wide layers of the working class have been drawn into political life by the movement. Trump's brazen actions have revealed for all the naked violence of the capitalist state. People have also seen the inability of the liberal Democrat mayor and governor to protect immigrant workers. As a result, workers drew their own conclusions to take matters.
The liberal Democrat mayor and the liberal Democrat governor are not protecting the immigrants because these are socialists and communists. They do not like Democrats. They don't work with Democrats. They don't think Democrats are effective. I was already, not that one. I was already on the Dr. Drew show, Chicken Patty. Got to go watch the recording. That was earlier.
Into our own hands. During the process of this struggle, the capacity and the creativity of workers has really been displayed. As outrage swept across the city, so too did self-organized efforts of the workers. Mutual aid organizations sprang up out of nowhere. Many churches, schools, and
mutual aid is how the far left is funded, guys. KK, thanks for the super chat. And thank you for, I think I seen you over on Instagram shitting on Andy No. That was pretty great. KK says, many of us are Karlyn yelling at us graduates so that programming runs deep. Just listen and watch her intro video. Also, what is naked violence? I don't know what naked violence is. I'm sorry. I don't know the context that you heard the term, so I would have to hear the context of the term to know what it's referencing specifically. But that's not a term I've heard come up all that often. But I do appreciate the super chat, KK. You rock. Thanks so much.
Small businesses became donation centers. Hundreds of volunteers have canvassed for events and opportunities to get involved. And nearly every neighborhood has hosted ICE patrols. You can go anywhere in Minneapolis and see volunteers in safety vests armed with radios and whistles on street corners. And after ICE agents entered a high school...
It was probably referring to the violence caused by ICE, the oppressive violence that capitalism causes. I mean, the left, okay, well, I didn't hear it, okay? But the left literally thinks that capitalism is actual violence. And so that's probably what they're talking about. But again, it's not a term that comes up like consistently. And so I think it was just probably a colloquialism, if I'm being honest about it. Don't worry about it. W's in the chat for Jump the Shark, donating a channel membership. Really appreciate it, bro.
Parents started forming protective chains around the schools. High schoolers have been some of the most radicalized by these events. Almost all of the
True.
high schools in Minneapolis have staged rolling walkouts against ICE terror.
Why do you guys think high schoolers are some of the most radicalized by what's going on in Minneapolis? Pop quiz for the chat. Why is it that high schoolers are some of the most radicalized when it comes to far left activism and anti-ICE activism? Because of the teachers. Because of the teachers. Do you think the high schoolers came up with these ideas on their own? Of course they didn't. It's the teachers. It's the indoctrination in the schools. And they've created an army of kids who don't know anything other than being taught by far leftists. And that's why you're seeing so many walkouts. That's why you're seeing so many direct actions with younger people. That's why you're seeing the Hilton Hotel protests. These are all younger people that are going out and making noise protests to annoy ICE agents into leaving and to annoy Hilton into kicking ICE out and stuff like that. It's all from the teachers.
Schools. High schoolers have been some of the most radicalized by these events. Almost all of the high schools in Minneapolis.
You guys are giving me so many super chats today. I really do appreciate it. We might. Okay, I can't read that on YouTube. What are you doing to me? Are you trying to get my channel banned on YouTube? Disavow, bro. Disavow. I have to. You're putting me in a position where I have to fucking disavow this. Why would listen? I appreciate the $5. I appreciate the money, but do you not understand how YouTube works? I can't read that. Why do you want me to lose my YouTube channel, motherfucker? Disavow. Thank you for the money. I'm keeping the money though, but disavow.
Have staged rolling walkouts against ICE terror. I was, in fact, just reading an article about a high school in Indiana, which continues to host weekly walkouts against ICE. ICE vehicles are also being tracked in real time by mobile ICE patrols.
Yeah, this
These
isn't
people have
Rumble.
taken on the moniker commuters. The commuters have formed a database of ICE vehicle license plates. I witnessed one of these commuter patrols firsthand. I was sitting down in a coffee shop with a comrade when everyone else in the store got up out of their seats to go look out the window. Roughly 5 or 6 large SUVs drove by full of ICE agents, and tailing them were 10 or 12 cars full of people reporting on their movements. They had headsets on and everything. It was really quite the sight. I think one of the most important developments of this movement has been the self-organized neighborhood committees. They started out as Signal group chats, but moved very quickly from online spaces to in-person activity. And as Athithi mentioned, their origins can be traced back to the self-defense committees after the George Floyd movement. These neighborhood meetings quickly covered the entire city and became very well attended. Through the escalation of events, they were transformed into environments for political discussion on fighting ICE. At one of these in-person meetings, there were 1,000 people in attendance. It was held at a high school, and the comrades who attended reported walking down the halls and seeing all of the classrooms filled to the brim. These are the effects on a population when it becomes intensely politicized. It's not for certain if these neighborhood groups will stick around as the movement ebbs, but they have left a lasting impression. And what we've seen here are glimpses of the capacity for workers to run society themselves. I remember driving through Minneapolis and seeing all of the ICE out signs and graffiti. I turned to the comrade in the car with me and I said, it feels like we're living through 1/10 of a revolution. As Tom pointed out in the leadoff, the largest obstacle for these neighborhood groups has been its lack of coordination and leadership. Without revolutionary leadership, the working class is forced to learn through trial and error. Because of the discoordination, each neighborhood was fighting ICE terror by itself, essentially. Now imagine if each neighborhood committee had elected delegates to a citywide coordinating body, and the unions could have linked up with that coordinating body and laid out plans to escalate the struggle. Strike committees could have been formed in all of the key workplaces that ICE needs to operate. Through coordination, the gas station workers could refuse service to ICE. The hotel staff could refuse to house ICE. The airport workers could refuse to transport the deportees. This is the power of the working class when it's organized. But right now, it only lies in potential. The unions are the only organizations with the reach and resources to access this.
What they mean by revolutionary behavior is overthrowing capitalism. I don't understand why you think they need to be hierarchical to have goals. Like they're explicitly non-hierarchical in their organizing principles. That doesn't mean they don't want to overthrow capitalism. It means they need to communicate and coordinate with each other differently. No. That's not what they're saying. What they're saying is, in this case, the Revolutionary Communists of America, who are the people presenting right now, they want to be the vanguard party. They want to be the party out there that's educating the masses, that is waking up the masses to their class consciousness to start the revolution. That doesn't mean the Revolutionary Communists of America are the "you will do as we say" party. That's not what it is. It's a voluntary association. The Revolutionary Communists of America want to get so big, and they want to have their membership be so broad that it just makes sense that people want to join them to push the communist revolution. That doesn't mean there won't be other groups. There are always other groups. That doesn't mean that they won't work with those other groups. Of course they would, but they want to be the vanguard party that are driving the awakening of the class consciousness. That doesn't mean they're issuing orders from on high to other people, because if they tried to issue orders to say, "You will do this," the other people are going to be like, "Yo, go, like, literally go fuck yourself." So there can be groups that are pushing forward with their goals, that want to amass a mass quantity of people. The Democratic Socialists of America, another group that are doing this, by the way, that they want to be like the vanguard party, but that does not mean they have hierarchical leadership. It is still non-hierarchical. It is still decentralized. I understand this can be a difficult concept to wrap your head around if you don't understand what it's like to operate in a decentralized model. But just because people have the same goals doesn't mean they are working together in what you might consider to be an organized fashion, because organized means hierarchy, and they are explicitly decentralized and non-hierarchical. And I know that sometimes this can be confusing and it doesn't make sense, but the more you watch this stuff, you will understand how it works. It's more like a libertarian thing, where it's like a voluntary association, and anyone can opt in or opt out of a voluntary association at like any time. It's like me collaborating with someone on the internet and saying, "We agree we're going to make content together." That does not mean I'm giving that person orders. That doesn't mean that person is giving me orders. It's just us saying, "You know what? We want to make some content together. It's not a big deal." No one's the boss. No one's in charge. We're working collaboratively. It's a voluntary relationship. That's what we're talking about here. That is what we are talking about. Let me see. We got comrades, not comrades. Yup, true old sub. Malcolm, valuable lesson. Thank you, Malcolm. And thank you, Malcolm W's to Malcolm for 5 gifted channel memberships. Really appreciate it. You guys are blowing the goal out of the water today. I think that's awesome. Let's continue.
Potential. The largest federation of unions in America, the AFL-CIO, they represent 15 million workers across the country. They outnumber ICE agents 680 to 1. The entire working class outnumbers ICE 7,500 to 1. The question of capacity and coordination is a question of leadership. I want to speak now on the general strike. It was really the energy from below that pushed faith groups, unions, and small political organizations to call for a day of action. The union organizers in particular avoided the word strike. And I'm not being dramatic here, but every single person I talked to in the lead up to that day called it a general strike. They called it what they wanted it to be. On the day of the strike, January 23rd, it's estimated that between 50,000 and 100,000 people marched through downtown Minneapolis.
That's crazy.
Nearly 800 small businesses closed down for the day. Of the people that participated that day, 38% did not work.
I really want people to understand this. There is no fucking universe in which the right wing can mobilize 100,000 people to do anything. There is no universe in which the right wing could organize over 800 businesses to close in a single city. There is no universe in which the right wing can literally shut down the schools, shut down all the businesses, shut down the entire economy. There is no universe in which the right can do this. The left can do this with about a week advance notice. Because when that general strike happened on January 23rd in Minnesota, and they tried to do it nationally too, but it was mostly in Minnesota, that was the biggest one. The left organized that in about a week. I really want people to understand this. Saying they're all paid protesters is not productive when there is literally no universe in which any significant amount of the people that came out to strike that day are actually paid to strike. That is not happening. That is ridiculous. Even the March for Life, probably the biggest right-wing event that there is, they can't shut down businesses. And they plan that event a year ahead of time. The left plans an event for 1 week, and they literally shut down the economy of a major city for a day. Now that might not, well, it was just one day and it was really cold that day. They're going to do this again on May 1st, 2026. Just wait. May 1st, 2026 is a Friday. They're going to shut down the economy again, probably for more of an extended period of time this time because they're making a point. We're going to see this happen again in another couple of months, if not actually sooner.
These are workers who either took the day off or their employer had closed due to the mass pressure. Without any real example of what a general strike means or looks like.
Donc, sans vraiment avoir un exemple de qu'est-ce qu'une grève générale veut dire ou ce à quoi ça ressemble.
Bonjour.
And without leadership pointing the way forward, workers were driven to general strike conclusions. This represents the organic class instinct in every worker. This mood for class struggle was displayed most concretely and recently in Minneapolis, but it exists across the country and across the world. This mood is evidence of a larger shift at play. We are leaving behind decades of relative class peace and entering an era of social upheaval, mass movement, class struggle, and revolution. The class battles ahead of us will be larger than anything we've experienced thus far. The general strike on the 23rd sent alarm bells ringing throughout the bourgeois media. 60 of Minnesota's CEOs petitioned Trump to de-escalate, not because they care about immigrants being terrorized, but they care about the stability of their system. And even without decisive leadership, the potential power of the working class
I have to say, I really have to thank the revolutionary communists who edited out all of the French translation before they posted this video. Like, this is one of the greatest things they've ever done. I've tried to listen to these people before when they have to interrupt every 2 seconds for interpretation. It is a mind-numbing experience. So thank you, Revolutionary Communist Party, for editing out all French in this video, because that would have fucking sucked.
On display, and it towers over Trump and the capitalist class. These CEOs could see what lies further down the road of class struggle and what this movement could have grown into. The working class was on a trajectory to come into direct confrontation with the entire ruling class.
Nope. Nope. That's conservative retardation. We are not retards here. No. They're not. They just are jealous that we have more stuff than that. Do you understand how fucking stupid that sounds? They're just mad that we have stuff and they don't have. So are you fucking stupid, bro? All right. I'm very sorry, but you're proving too retarded to be here. I'm going to put you in a 5-minute timeout. If you come back from that 5-minute timeout and you continue to be retarded in my chat, then I'm going to deport you from my chat.
Potential for the union leadership to be pushed out of their passivity. And there was a real possibility of a wave of strikes that started in Minneapolis and spread across the country. I want to give you all an indication of what sort of governor Minnesota has. Last Tuesday, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, met with the head of ICE operations, Tom Homan. Walz said that he wants to return to a lower number of agents, the about 100 to 150 who regularly work in the state. The Democrats are also afraid of the instability to their system. They don't want ICE out of Minnesota. They want ICE out of the news headlines. So there's this question of what has the role of the RCA been in this movement in particular? We aim to show the potential of movements, to point out the limits that prevent it from winning, to connect that to the need for a socialist revolution and the urgent task of building revolutionary leadership today. With the forces we have in Minneapolis, we weren't able to play a leadership role for this movement. It is a difficult thing to not be a major player in the game, to know you have the correct ideas and not have the size to implement them.
So that's interesting, and that's and that doesn't surprise me at all, to be honest with you, because we know that the major organizing parties for the anti-ICE activism in Minnesota have been groups like the DSA, the PS, the Democratic Socialists of America, Party for Socialism and Liberation, the Freedom Road Socialist Organization, Socialist Alternative. Those have been kind of the main groups that have been popping up over and over. That fucking Monarca, the immigrant rights groups, that's been a very active group in Minnesota. But the RCA, the Revolutionary Communists of America, haven't popped up as much. Now they're saying, we just don't really have the people in Minnesota to be a major player. Now you have to admit, you have to understand, the Sunrise Movement is another one. Thank you for that. You have to understand, the RCA is a national group. The RCA does have an organized presence in dozens of major American cities. That does not mean the RCA has a ton of members in each city, though. And so Minneapolis must be one of those places where they haven't really organized as much yet. And they're saying we don't have as much influence as other groups. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't a fuck off amount of leftists in Minnesota. Of course there are. But this is why it's so important that we understand the differences between the groups, because different groups have different values. Different groups have different priorities. The RCA tends to be, honestly, the most boring of the communist groups. They're economic communists. They're not cultural communists. They don't really talk about the culture stuff. Whereas the DSA, the Party of Socialism and Liberation, the Freedom Road Socialist Organization, Socialist Alternative, those groups are all way more problematic than the RCA. And so this is why it's important to understand the differences between all of the major groups that are playing on the left.
It is also frustrating to see a movement ebb before your eyes and know exactly what it needs to accelerate and expand. But we must remind ourselves, we cannot shout louder than our own voice. What could we have done with 500 or 1,000 communists across Minneapolis? And this is not too far away, considering we just crossed 1,000 communists in the United States.
What he means by that is the RCA has 1,000 dues-paying members in the United States. So the RCA, how the RCA is funded, is the RCA is funded by dues-paying members. The dues for the RCA is 1 day's wages per month. So basically, whatever amount you make in a single day, whether that be $50 or $100 or whatever, you donate 1 to 2 days wages per month to the RCA. That is how their dues are paid. And so, like, we're talking about 1,000 dues paying members. If we say each dues paying member is paying $50 a month, that's $50,000 a month that the RCA has in budget. And they do other fundraising and they do these Marxist schools. They make money in other ways too. They sell books, they sell merchandise. There's a lot of different revenue streams, but I just want people to understand, like, when he's saying there's 1,000 communists, what he's saying is the RCA, one single group, has 1,000 dues paying members a month. That's probably going to amount to at least $50,000 a month just in those dues. That doesn't count additional donations that people might make. That does not count revenue from their Marxist schools that they hold all over the country. That doesn't count additional merchandise sales. That doesn't account for book sales. Oh yeah, well guess what? You're about to enjoy far more because you just got permanently banned from my channel. People who don't take my class. Oh shit! I accidentally banned KK. KK, I didn't mean to do that. KK, I didn't mean to do that. I'm bringing you back. KK, don't worry about it. You're back. You're back. KK, I apologize. I'm now permanently banning the person that I meant to permanently ban. Bye, asshole. I'm sorry, KK. I didn't mean it. Please forgive me. I know. Accidents happen. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Don't worry about it. The right person got banned. Yeah. Man down. Man down. Man down. Take it back. It's like when I banned Duncan. that still to this day is the funniest shit that's ever happened. Duncan Trussell comes on the channel, chats in something about this all being Soros funded, and I'm so pissed off about it that I instantly fucking permanently banned Duncan Trussell from the channel, and then I fucking realized, oh shit, that's Duncan. That was the funniest shit that's ever happened ever on the channel. Duncan rules. Thanks, Donnie Girl, for being a member of the channel for 9 months. Feels like forever. I appreciate you, Donnie. Thanks so much.
The conditions for building a communist party in America have never been more ideal. A poll last autumn recorded that 62% of people aged 18 to 30 have a favorable view of socialism, and 34% of these people have a favorable view of communism.
Donnie! Appreciate it.
Our primary role has been underlined by this movement to unite these radicalized workers and students under a communist banner, with communist cells embedded in every workplace, classroom, union, and neighborhood committee. We could have effectively and systematically put forward communist ideas across the movement. This is a question of quantity, but also of quality. Each of these communists must be capable cadre, professional revolutionaries. They must be trained in Marxism and in the history of the class struggle. Professional revolutionaries are able to connect the real struggle of the workers against ICE to the need for a revolutionary overthrow of capitalism, the root cause of ICE terror. I'd like to address this question of anything we could have done differently.
Oh, hello. Did the communists just say that they need to overthrow capitalism, which is the root cause of ICE terror? Because ICE are the enforcers of the border. The border is a capitalist construct. The ICE enforces the border, therefore ICE enforces capitalism. Therefore, capitalism created the problem of ICE. Therefore, in order to defeat ICE, you need to overthrow capitalism. You guys see how that worked? No, that's funny. Yeah, I appreciate that, old sub sailor. Thanks so much. Watch again.
Of the class struggle. Professional revolutionaries are able to connect the real struggle of the workers against ICE to the need for a revolutionary overthrow of capitalism, the root cause of ICE terror. I'd like to address this question of anything we could have done differently. I think we should keep in mind that building during times of relative class peace is very different from building during times of class struggle. And the transition between the two can be very quick and very jarring. There were a layer of comrades who felt the pressure of the movement to, let's say, join in building barricades. Simultaneously, there was a layer that took a more routinist approach to branch meetings and outward activity. The pressure of the movement impacts different people in different ways. We must constantly find the balance between opportunism and sectarianism. We should also remember that our tactics flow from concrete conditions and from the class character of movements. These are both subject to change, so likewise our tactics are subject to change. In Minneapolis, we have recruited 15 people from this movement. The task is now to train these communists in the method of Marxism, to turn them into cadre who can play a decisive role in the future. The Minneapolis comrades recognize.
They're literally telling you, we have watched the RCA do presentations where they talk about how they need to train their cadre because the cadre are the leaders of the Revolutionary Army. We've seen they have a whole military plan for how they're going to overthrow the government. And again, it all starts with education. Education is at the foundation of far left activism. They believe that they need to educate people to be good communists, so they are creating a little army of cadre that can go be the people that are going to lead the revolution. Yo, Anna, welcome to the cult. We really appreciate it. Your life is over. You're never leaving. You're never going to see the world the same way again, but you'll have friends during the Marxist Revolution. W's for Washbar. W's for Washbar. That's how we're going to pronounce it, regardless of whether or not it's right. 5 gifted channel memberships. Thanks, bro. They're pushing for free childcare because they believe that the state should fund the raising of the children. They believe in universal health care, all resources being available to all people. So they believe that currently mothers or parents do the unpaid labor of raising the next generation of oppressed workers in the form of raising the children. They believe that if the capitalist state is going to oppress the proletarian workers, they should be the ones paying to raise them, essentially. Good question, though. Yo, we got a super chat from Old Sub. 3 shots of double shots of yo. Careful, Old Sub. Careful. Don't be, you take care of yourself, bro. We need you. We can't lose you. Appreciate it.
Recognize how historical this movement has been. The past several weeks have fueled our motivation to build the party, to raise our own political level and sharpen our understanding of events. We recognize how important it is to learn from our experience in this movement, to draw out all the correct lessons, and to transmit those lessons across the international so that we are all prepared to intervene in movements like this one. This is ultimately why we hold international Marxist schools as this one. The question is not whether class struggle will come. The question is, will we have built and trained the leadership capable of winning? Onward to 10,000 communists internationally.
And again, when they say communists, they mean members of their organization specifically. Every single person in this room, guys, every single person you see here, this is a Revolutionary Communist Party of Canada meeting where they brought members of the Revolutionary Communists of America to talk about the struggle in Minneapolis, okay? So every single person that you see, this is another way the Revolutionary Communists make money. They do this in America too. They hold these same type of events all over America in different major cities. Every single person in that room has paid to be there, okay? Every single person there, I forget how much it is, maybe a couple $100. Every single person has paid the Revolutionary Communists of Canada a couple $100 to go to their weekend-long Marxist school to learn all this stuff. And this is one event. The Revolutionary Communists hold events like this all the time. They hold them all over Canada. They hold them all over America. Do you guys? And so when they're talking about, 1,000 communists, 10,000 communists, they're not talking about communists in general. They're talking about their one specific group. Everyone understand? Okay. I wish we could continue with this, guys, but no, you can. Yeah, anyone can sign up and go. They even said I could go. I would love for people to sign up and go and probably secretly record them as you're there and just ignore it if they say you can't record them. You can record them. I promise you, you really can. No, anyone can go to these guys. Literally anyone can go, but you got to pay them money to go. So if you want to pony up a couple $100 to go spend a weekend learning about Marxism, hey, I say do it. It's a good old time. Old Sub, yes, I'm an old lightweight, but proud of it. I'm home now. Good. I'm glad you're home, Old Sub. Hey, guys, listen. I would love to stay and continue this, but we have to wrap this up because we've got a spy stream to get to. So, guys, we're going to be ending this stream we are going to be moving into Spy Stream. Now, if you're new to the channel and you just got gifted a channel membership, let me show you how you find it. This is for YouTube channel members only. Rumble, I just need you guys to stay put, okay? I need you guys to keep an eye on the Rumble channel. You guys are going to see the stream pop up over on Rumble, okay? So Rumble, you are going to be able to find the stream over there. If you are a YouTube channel member, here is how you get to the membership, okay? You go to my main channel homepage. You go to the post tab, and the very first post, or it might be the second one now, that at the top of the post tab, you are going to see a link to Spy Stream. Yo, welcome to the cult, S7. We appreciate you being here. So that is how you find the link for Spy Stream. It is not a member stream because I have to invite other people as well, but you will find the link for the Spy Stream on YouTube under the post tab on the channel, and that's how you can come and join us. If you're a member of my Substack, you go over to the Substack, which is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. You click on the Spy Stream link in the middle of the fucking page, and you scroll down. Now, I'm not going to scroll all the way down, but if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of this post, because I would give away the link, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of this post, you're going to find the link to Spy Stream. If you're a member on Locals, you can find it on Locals. If you're a member on Patreon, you can find it on Patreon. If you are a Twitter subscriber, you can find it over on Twitter. Just go to whatever platform you are a supporter on, and I have posted the Spy Stream link there. We are going to go watch a presentation of a bunch of feminists whining about being women and how oppressed they are because of it. Who knows how good it'll be, but I will show you inside a live leftist meeting, and we will watch it as a fly on the wall, live in but a few short moments. Thank you to everyone who came out today. Thank you especially to everyone who donated a channel membership, everyone who became a member of the channel. KB Thomas, welcome to the cult. We really appreciate you being here. We have 143 new members of the channel today. I really hope everyone who got gifted a channel membership takes advantage of it. Come and join us for Spy Stream. And I appreciate everyone who sent in a super chat. You guys allow me to do what I do. I'm completely funded by you. I cannot do it without you. Old Sub is drunk. They're going to take away your credit cards, bro. They're going to take them away, but I really appreciate the super chat. Yup, don't mess around with drinking and driving. Yeah, exactly. No drinking and driving. We need to keep you around. You just got that awesome tattoo. Can't leave us yet. All right, guys. I will see you on the other side for Spy Stream. I will see everyone else tomorrow at 5 p.m. And also tomorrow at 8 p.m., we are having a rare public Spy Stream on the channel tomorrow. So if you can't make it tonight or you didn't get a channel membership, don't worry. We will be having a rare public Spy Stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll fuck around and do other stuff before that. Okay? So I will see you guys on the other side. Thank you so much for supporting my work, and let's go watch the Spy Stream, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.